April 11th, 1809, Battle of the Basque Roads. The Battle of the Basque Roads, fought from April 11th to the 25th, 1809, was a naval engagement between British and French fleets in the narrow Basque Roads off the coast of France. The British force, led by Admiral Lord Gambier, consisted of 27 ships, while the French fleet under Vice-Admiral Zacharie Allemand had 30 ships. The battle involved unconventional tactics in the cramped coastal waters. The conflict began with British fireships launched on the night of April 11th, causing damage to several French ships but failing to destroy the fleet. Subsequent engagements on April 12th resulted in significant damage to the French, although the fleet was not fully destroyed. A storm on April 22nd dispersed both fleets, allowing the French to escape to safety. Tactically, the Battle of the Basque Roads was a British victory, inflicting more damage than received. However, strategically, the French succeeded by escaping to remain a threat to British shipping lords. Cochrane's squadron of fireships played a notable role in causing damage to the French fleet, despite challenges in coordination with Admiral Gambier. 1814. The Treaty of Fontainebleau. On April 11, 1814, the Treaty of Fontainebleau was signed, ending the War of the Sixth Coalition against Napoleon Bonaparte. The treaty forced Napoleon to abdicate unconditionally for the first time. The treaty was signed by Napoleon, representatives of Austria, Russia, and Prussia, and was ratified by the French government on April 13th. Under the terms of the treaty, Napoleon was exiled to the island of Elba off the coast of Italy. He was allowed to keep the title of emperor, but he was stripped of all real power. The treaty also stipulated that France would be restored to its borders as they existed before the French Revolution. The Treaty of Fontainebleau was a major victory for the Allies, and it marked the end of Napoleon's reign and the beginning of a new era in European history. 1822. The Chios Massacre. On April 11, 1822, the Ottoman fleet landed on the island of Chios in the Aegean Sea and carried out a massacre of the Greek inhabitants. The majority of the inhabitants were killed or enslaved, while 20,000 escaped as refugees. The massacre was a reaction to the Greek War of Independence, which had begun in 1821. The Ottomans were determined to crush the Greek rebellion, and they saw the massacre as a way of sending a message to other Greeks. The massacre began on March 30th, 1822, when Ottoman ships bombarded the town of Chios. The bombardment continued for several days, and the town was reduced to rubble. On April 11th, Ottoman troops landed on the island and began killing and enslaving the Greek inhabitants. The massacre lasted for several weeks, and it's estimated that up to 100,000 Chiots were killed or enslaved. The only ones who were temporarily spared were the mastic farmers, who were essential to the Ottoman economy. However, they were eventually enslaved. The Chios Massacre was a horrific event that shocked the world, and it helped to galvanize support for the Greek cause because it played a role in the eventual victory of the Greek War of Independence. 1856. The Second Battle of Rivas. On April 11, 1856, the Second Battle of Rivas took place in Rivas, Nicaragua. The battle was fought between Costa Rican forces led by General Juan Rafael Mora Porras and the filibuster forces of American mercenary William Walker. The battle began when the Costa Ricans attacked the filibusters' position in the town of Rivas. The filibusters were outnumbered and outgunned, but they were able to hold out for several hours. In a daring act of heroism, Costa Rican soldier Juan Santa Maria volunteered to burn down the hostel where the filibusters were holed up. Santa Maria set fire to the hostel with a torch and was killed in the ensuing battle. The destruction of the hostel forced the filibusters to retreat, the Costa Ricans won the battle, and Walker was forced to flee Nicaragua. 1868. The Surrender of Edo Castle. On April 11, 1868, former shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu surrendered Edo Castle to imperial forces, marking the end of the Tokugawa shogunate. The Tokugawa shogunate had ruled Japan for over 250 years, but it had come under increasing pressure from forces that wanted to restore imperial rule. In 1868, these forces, known as the Meiji Restorationists, launched a campaign to overthrow the shogunate. The Meiji Restorationists quickly gained the upper hand in the conflict, and in April 1868, they captured Edo, the shogunate's capital. Tokugawa Yoshinobu, realizing that his position was hopeless, surrendered Edo Castle. The surrender of Edo Castle marked the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the beginning of the Meiji era. The Meiji Restorationists quickly set about modernizing Japan, and the country embarked on a period of rapid economic and political change. The surrender of Edo Castle had a number of significant implications. It marked the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the beginning of the Meiji era. It led to the modernization of Japan and the country's emergence as a global power. It had a profound impact on Japanese society and culture. 1876. The founding of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. On April 11, 1876, the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks was founded in New York City, initially named the Independent Order of Odd Fellows before being renamed in 1878. This fraternal organization, led by figures like Charles Algernon Coleridge, has since grown to over 2 million members worldwide. Known for their dedication to civic service, charity, and benevolence, the Elks have raised millions for causes like the United Way, the American Red Cross, the Shriners Hospitals for Children, and a strong commitment to brotherhood. The Elks sponsor various social and recreational activities, providing support to members and making a positive impact in their communities.